Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to be periodically updating the pledged delegate tracker post Super Tuesday results. This is just part one. As we continue to get more and more of the voting data in, we'll get a better idea exactly how many pledged delegates these candidates are going to receive from these respective contests. So I'm just going to go through alphabetical order, and these are the most relevant and up-to-date numbers that we're getting out of the Associated Press. So starting off here with Alabama, a state that Joe Biden did extremely well in. Out of their 52 pledged delegates, he's currently standing at 40, with Bernie Sanders at 7, Michael Bloomberg at 1, Elizabeth Warren at 0. And then moving down to American Samoa, kind of an outlier of a result that we got on Super Tuesday, with Biden getting 0, Bernie getting 0, Michael Bloomberg, he won the contest. He's currently sitting on 4, Warren at 0, and then Tulsi Gabbard kind of throwing a wrench into things here with the pledged delegate tracker. I didn't think she was going to get any pledged delegates throughout this entire process, but now she was able to pick up at least one in American Samoa, so 5 out of their 6 pledged delegates have been accounted for, but we know that Tulsi Gabbard is going to be getting 0 through the rest of the Super Tuesday states, so I'll fill those in before getting into the rest of these contests. So the next state is Arkansas, another area where Joe Biden did quite well. Out of their 31 pledged delegates, he's currently sitting on 16, with Bernie Sanders at 8 and Michael Bloomberg at 4, with Elizabeth Warren at 0. Now moving out to the state of California, they allow mail-in ballots all the way up to including the day of the election. So there's a ton of the vote that has yet to be counted in the state. There's a ton of pledged delegates up for grabs, 415. Bernie Sanders is winning the state. Currently, the allocation is 52 for Joe Biden, 112 for Bernie Sanders, 14 for Michael Bloomberg, and 9 for Elizabeth Warren, but there's still 228 pledged delegates left to go. That is a ton, and we're going to continue to get a better idea of where those are going to be headed over this next week. So actually, with Bernie coming up short in a lot of these states, it could actually be made up in California if the numbers play out in his favor. We'll have to see if that's going to be the case or not for Bernie as we continue to get that vote coming in. So then moving over to the state of Colorado, and with their 67 pledged delegates, Bernie is winning the state. He's currently sitting on 20, with Joe Biden at 9. And then Michael Bloomberg is currently sitting on 9, with Elizabeth Warren at 1. They also still have a lot of pledged delegates up for grabs, with 28 still to go. And not a big surprise to see the math not completely in, because they're only 69% reporting. And on top of that, all of the candidates behind Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Michael Bloomberg, and Elizabeth Warren, are really close to that 15 percentage point threshold. So the math can play out in a bunch of different ways based on how those districts ended up voting. So then moving over to the state of Maine, one of the bigger surprises, in my opinion, on the night is Joe Biden being so competitive with Bernie Sanders there at the top. We're currently sitting with Joe Biden at 8, Bernie Sanders at 8, and then Bloomberg at 0, Elizabeth Warren at 2. Still 6 pledged delegates left to be decided in that state. Another surprising result came up there in the Northeast, in the state of Massachusetts, with Joe Biden going on and winning. He's currently sitting on 34, with Bernie Sanders at 26, and Elizabeth Warren at 17, with Michael Bloomberg currently at 0. So there's still 14 pledged delegates left to be decided in the state of Massachusetts. Minnesota, Joe Biden getting a nice bump from the endorsement from the Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar as she steps out of the race. And you see that Joe Biden was able to win the state in terms of the popular vote. He's currently sitting on 38 pledged delegates, with Bernie Sanders at 26, Michael Bloomberg at 0, and Elizabeth Warren at 10. Only one pledged delegate left to be decided in that state. And then moving on to North Carolina, very convincing victory for Joe Biden. He's got 65 pledged delegates, Bernie Sanders at 35. Michael Bloomberg is at 1, with Elizabeth Warren at 2. Still 7 pledged delegates up for grabs. In the state of Oklahoma, another really positive sign for Joe Biden. Did a bit better than I was expecting. He's sitting there at 21 pledged delegates, with Bernie Sanders at 13, Michael Bloomberg at 3, and Elizabeth Warren at 0. And that's a full allocation of their pledged delegates. Tennessee, a southeastern state that Joe Biden did pretty well in again, and he's currently at 28 pledged delegates, with Bernie Sanders at 15. Michael Bloomberg at 7, Elizabeth Warren at 1, still 13 pledged delegates to be allocated of their 64. The state of Texas, they have a ton of delegates, 228. It was close throughout the entire night. The early voting was trending very positively for Bernie Sanders, while the on election day vote was very positive for Joe Biden, allowing him to pick up the popular vote. He's currently sitting on 70 of those pledged delegates, with Bernie at 60, Michael Bloomberg at 4, Elizabeth Warren at 1, and still 93 pledged delegates left to be divvied up among those individuals. And then out to the state of Utah, an area where Bernie Sanders had a bit more success, 9 pledged delegates. Michael Bloomberg at 2, Joe Biden at 1, and Elizabeth Warren at 0. Did not enter those in correctly. Let me fix that real quick. And still 17 pledged delegates left to be divvied up in that state. And then Vermont, of course, as expected to be solid for Bernie Sanders. He gets over 50% of the vote, but actually not quite as good as I was expecting from Sanders. I believe he got over 80% of the vote in Vermont back in 2016. He had more competition this time around, but still probably not quite as convincing of a victory as the Sanders team was hoping for. They get 11 of the 16 pledged delegates, with Joe Biden getting 5, and then Bloomberg and Warren each picking up 0. And then the last state here is Virginia. They have 100% of their vote in, so we know their full allocation. It was extremely positive for Joe Biden. Of those 99 pledged delegates, he's currently sitting at 66, with Bernie Sanders at 31. Bloomberg didn't pick up any in the state, which was actually a little bit of a surprise, and then Elizabeth Warren grabbed 2 for that full 99 pledged delegate allocation. So at this point, with quite a bit of the data in, we can see Joe Biden has 507 pledged delegates, which is 47% of the current allocated delegates, with Bernie Sanders at 441, 41%. Bloomberg at 5%, he has 49, along with Elizabeth Warren, who's at 53. Of course, Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, no change from them from where they were sitting at 26 and 7. And we have Tulsi Gabbard there, who picked up at least 1 pledged delegate out in American Samoa. But this is relatively close, actually, between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, within about 60 pledged delegates. And we still have 228 left to be divvied up from California, which could more so go to Bernie Sanders and tighten that gap. We'll see how things play out over the coming days as we continue to get more of the vote in. And periodically, I'll be updating you guys on where we're at with the pledged delegates post Super Tuesday. So I appreciate you stopping by. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for continued election coverage, and I hope to see you guys back here for my next video.